more blue check markism, I'd imagine that some of you guys are familiar with Chris Hayes. I think he's still with MSNBC, if I'm not mistaken. He is. He's still doing All In with Chris on MSNBC. He says right now, if we had an administration that cared one whit about protecting Americans, remember, it's always it's authoritarianism in the name of humanitarianism, protecting Americans. There would be a national coordinating. That sounds like nothing to worry about. A national coordinated messaging all over the place about making Thanksgiving virtual this year. But there is none because they don't care. And this is what gets me about guys like Chris Hayes. They consider their position the position. And this is why, and a lot of leftists are like this. It's not just anything unique to him. I believe a lot of people that would consider themselves more progressives or side with the more progressive types, that's their approach. They assume that their position is the only position that exists, that it's the right one. Who the fuck is doing a virtual Thanksgiving? I mean, maybe some of y'all will. We not doing that shit. I would just rather not have it. I'm not going to sit up here and look at your silly ass eating and shit on the camera. Like, that's fucking retarded. But that's the type of, excuse me, my language, but that's the type of stuff these guys come up with and try to conjure. Like, hey, don't get together with your family because COVID. And they think that it's the government's job to sit up here and be lecturing y'all to do that, right? To not get together with your family on Thanksgiving because I guess COVID, right? And there should be a national effort if they cared. And it's like, well, unless, look, we have been talking about this throughout the entire show. We talked about this last segment as well, about how they only can see the world through the lens of government forcing or leading the charge on something. And this is why they get so irate in the event that a government official or agent or something does nothing. Because they act as if individuals within a marketplace can't think for themselves. It has to come from the government, right? And it's like, well, you're not protecting me, which is what Chris Hayes is saying. Let's break this down here. He's essentially saying that in order for you to care and protect people, you have to tell them to do what you want them to do. Like, we can't come up with this shit ourselves. We can't think about this ourselves. No. We can't come to any sort of conclusion as adults as far as what risk we want to take. No. That has to come from the government, right? And if the government doesn't do it, well, they don't care about protecting you. How about this? I don't want them to care about that. That's not your damn decision to make. I don't need you lecturing me on whether or not I should stay home and look at my mother, I guess, through a freaking webcam while I'm eating turkey. Like, this fucking shit's weird. That's fucking weird, man. But if that's what y'all want to do, fine. But this moronic idea that the government should be, leading the charge on this, and it should be this nationally coordinated message to have Thanksgiving be virtual, or outside for that matter. But they don't care because they're not telling you to do what Chris Hayes wants you to do. Every progressive thinks they are the smartest people in the room, and they should be dictating what you should be doing. This is why generally their philosophies undermine the individual. Be it in socialism, state socialism, communism, it always undermines the individual because you can't make that decision for yourself. No. Chris Hayes and the government must do it. Because how else would you know how to protect yourself? How else would you know how to be careful? How else would you know the proper way to go about living your life if not by way of the state telling you? And well, there's a problem when the government doesn't do that. They want these motherfuckers in every facet of your life. In every aspect of your life, that's what they want them in. They want you advising you just cannot think for yourself. The government knows best, right? And because they aren't doing this, well, they don't care about you. And it assumes that they should be caring about me. And that's the last thing I actually want from a government official, to be honest, is them caring about me. I don't care for that. Right? Because like we mentioned in the last segment, caring is what get people killed. Caring about people is what tanks economies. Caring is what gets you centrally planned economies. Like we said, the most authoritarian regimes have always masked their authoritarianism and humanitarianism efforts. Where they say that I'm doing what I'm doing because I care so much about my people. No. And that's why I wouldn't want that, because, of course, the unique thing that you have as a government official is this territorial monopoly on use of force, violence, and ultimate decision making. So it makes you the state. But man, it's this sort of idea that comes from a lot of leftists that suggests time and time again that no man can think for himself. Your world can't move unless we move it for you. And they get upset when people with power don't, or rather they want the power to themselves to act in that regard, because they are the smart. This is why they put so much stake in academia, right? Because and why do you think the educational elites are the most protective of the state? They validate each other. And they always undermine the individual. They look at individuality as if it's a negative thing. God forbid that families start assuming the risk. God forbid that families decide for themselves, grown ass adults decide for themselves how they want to handle Thanksgiving. Do they want it canceled altogether? Do they want to have it in this more unique way? Are we lessening the amount of people there? Right? That's how adults handle things. Let them assume the risk. And if it's a mistake, it's a mistake. But it's not on you to decide for them or on behalf of them. But good luck trying to get these socialists to think that. It's always got to come from them because they know every damn thing. Yes, you need to be eating turkey on a webcam. And if the government is not telling you to do that, then there's something wrong. Like, golly, man, these guys are something else.